So I came across a report a few minutes ago about Woody Allen, the film director, who has been accused of his stepdaughter of sexual abuse. Adopted daughter, sorry, I should say. His adopted daughter of sexual abuse, going back to 1992, 22 years ago. This is from the BBC website. In an open letter, Dylan Farrow accuses Allen of molesting her in a dim closet-like attic at the age of 7. Ms. Farrow, now 28, also criticises Hollywood's continued celebration of a predator who brought chaos into our home. Allen was investigated over the abuse allegations at the time of the incident but was not charged. A panel of psychologists appointed by US prosecutors and the police concluded that Dylan had not been molested. The case caused controversy when the prosecutor later said there had been probable cause to charge Allen, but he chose not to in order to protect the child. I won't read the whole article, it's quite lengthy, but I'll put a link to that from BBC. What I'm making this video for really is to address what seems to me to be a sort of trend. Ever since the Jimmy Savile abuse scandal in the UK, and I think it was 2012, he died in 2011, and then throughout 2012 there was a huge number of revelations that the DJ, charity fundraiser, TV presenter Jimmy Savile, very famous in the UK, had been a serious and repeat child molester, rapist, paedophile, and it was abuse on a massive scale, and the BBC faced a lot of controversy for the culture of sort of propping this man up. So it seems to me that since then there has been a lot of allegations against a lot of elderly male celebrities. The very important thing about this is allegations. I'm referring to Woody Allen. Allegations. Someone did put forward the point that his ex-wife Mia Farrow was still very bitter about their breakup. That's really between them. It's not for me as an outsider to say. I don't have a clue about it. It's none of my business. But obviously they were insinuating that this is some sort of revenge for that. I don't think there's any evidence of that, but the fact is this case was investigated at the time and it was found that no abuse had occurred. That doesn't mean that the authorities can't make mistakes. We have had high profile cases in the UK where social services have let down vulnerable children, and that's something that has to be taken seriously. But I think it's extremely important that these men, and they usually are elderly male celebrities, are not tried by the media. They have as much right to as anyone as a fair trial in the court of law with all relevant evidence presented. If he is guilty, of course he should face justice, and he shouldn't be let off the hook just because he's a celebrity. I remember a few years ago there was a scandal surrounding Roman Polanski, and a lot of people were sort of talking about how hard a life he'd had. If someone's guilty of sexual assault, I don't think having a hard life is an excuse. Roman Polanski had suffered a lot in his life, but I didn't like the sort of insinuation that was going out there that just because he'd had a hard life he should be above the law. Woody Allen, again, just because he's a celebrity, well, that's a different issue, but I don't think he should be above the law just because he's a celebrity and there seems to be this sort of strong Hollywood endorsement of him. If he is guilty, he should absolutely face justice. But if is the key word in this. Allegation is another key word. And there seems to be two extremes. Either it's those who sort of jump on the bandwagon of assuming these men are guilty, and sort of saying, oh, they're a monster, they're being protected, they need to be put behind bars, etc. And then there's the other camp, which is a bit too defensive and said, oh, why are these women only saying this now, they're liars, etc., etc. The simple reality is the only people that know the absolute truth is the perpetrator and the victim. They're the only people who know if indeed there is a victim and if indeed there is a perpetrator. So what I would say is these are serious allegations and they should be taken seriously, but it is also on the legal system to prove that he is guilty and to show that this woman is telling the truth. We just don't know. I would make one point. People often say when these sort of allegations come about, oh, why is it these women only bring out the allegations now? Why wait so long? That's a fair enough argument, but I think there may be reasons why they wait. It could be I mean, we know in the Jimmy Savile case there was a very deeply embedded culture of protecting him, shameful culture at the BBC of simply protecting him. So his abuse victims were frightened to go forward because they would be ridiculed, they would be bullied into silence, etc. It may be that when they find out there's been other victims in the case of serial predators, they then feel the confidence to go forward. That's an important aspect to consider. So it's wrong that we just assume that these men are innocent and just assume that the women can't be trusted because there's been a long period. At the same time, I think it would be wrong to try these men. And I say these men because there does seem to be a trend of elderly male celebrities. A while back, Rolf Harris was accused. There was an elderly DJ, Travis, I forget his first name, but there has been quite a long series of allegations against elderly male celebrities, and there is a slight witch hunt air about it. The only rational conclusion is some may be guilty, some may be innocent. I find it hard to believe they're all guilty. If that is the case, then that demonstrates there must be a culture of acceptance among that generation of male celebrities. But then that would be a ridiculous generalization, saying that all men sort of in their late 50s, early 80s are sexual predators. It would be a dangerous generalization. So we have to be very careful on how this is dealt with. I certainly don't think it should be a trial by media, and by that I mean that the fame of these people should not be the allegations shouldn't be plastered all over the press. I originally saw it in the Independent newspaper, which is a pretty responsible newspaper, and they sort of were publishing her allegations. Now they did say it was allegations, but I don't know if they should even be publishing that at all before a trial has even happened. In fact, I'm a strong believer in innocent until proven guilty. I strongly believe that in, for example, rape trials, if the accuser has a right to anonymity, I believe that the defendant should also have a right to anonymity. I know there's the argument about if a defendant is identified, other victims may come forward, but that doesn't weigh up to the argument that an innocent man is having his name plastered, a potentially innocent man is having his name plastered all over the press, and even if he's found not guilty, the damage is already done. Likewise, if these celebrities, for example Woody Allen, turns out to be entirely innocent, it doesn't matter because there's always that question mark over his character. It doesn't matter if the justice system proves him 100% innocent, this will always then be in his record, in his Wikipedia article, whatever. So the only thing that matters here is truth and justice. I think it's a despicable thing to accuse an innocent person of doing something they haven't done, But I also think it's a despicable situation that an actual victim doesn't get justice. So it seems to me the only logical solution is that there needs to be a fair trial in a court of law. And if Miss Farrow stands by her claim, she should be heard. But her claims have to be consistent, and they have to weigh up to everything she said. I do think there would be room for suspicion if she, for example, changes her testimony or something like that. Okay, so that's just a bit of reflection on these cases. Let me know your thoughts.